Hey everyone, and welcome back. And it's no surprise that ranking up in Overwatch 2 is more difficult than it used to be. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks that are going to help you rank up in Overwatch competitive. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more Overwatch content, be sure to like and subscribe and drop a comment of what video you want to see next. Now just a bit of a disclaimer before we get into it, that even if you follow everything I say down perfectly, you're not instantly going to become better overnight. Even if you follow each tip I give you, specifically directly how I intend you to follow it, you're not going to become better just like that. Any of these videos by other Overwatch creators that are saying only a certain tip or a couple tips that are going to instantly make you better are usually bogus. And I don't mean like the foundation of what they're going for is bogus, but no specific tip is going to make you better just like that. Like changing a setting is not going to make you instantly better. Even if it's changing your crosshair, it's not going to instantly make you better at the game. The tips I offer you are going to help you get better at the game, but at a steady rate. You're not instantly going to become better, but I'm not saying that if you follow these, you're not going to improve. Again, it all takes experience, but yeah, let's get straight into it. Tip number 1 is to change your mindset. And this may seem like a stupid tip, and a lot of you may not even understand what I mean. Well, let me break it down for you. This is, in my opinion, the first tip that I really neglected, and after I really looked into it and changed my mindset, I actually ranked up quite a bit. So most of you are probably playing the game solely to rank up. That's your key objective, is to rank up, and that's it. You don't really have any other reason except to rank up in comp. Well, that is the reason you're losing a lot of your games. And I'm not saying like you having that in your mind all the time is gonna make you lose, but it does change the way you play. If you're playing the game only to get to the next rank, you're gonna be making more mistakes and you're gonna be tilting more after losses. Instead of losing one and being more chill about it, you're gonna get so mad that you just wanna do another game to win, so you stop getting on that losing streak. It honestly is really annoying to deal with tilting, especially because you just want to get out of the rank you're in. So what do? Well, change your mindset from only wanting to rank up to getting better at the game as a whole. And not just that, but also having more fun at the game. If you're playing the game to rank up specifically, you're not really going to rank up that much. Now you may rank up a couple, but you're probably going to drop back down after a while. But if you're playing the game specifically to get better at it, your comp rank will increase as you get better as well. An example I can give you is that I used to not know how to play Hanzo or really any good hit scan. I only knew about Soldier and that was it. I couldn't play Cassidy, Widow, Ashe, or even Hanzo. Well, the first main hit scan I wanted to learn was Hanzo, and he is more difficult than the others, but I wanted to learn him because a lot of people say he's good. Well, after I looked into how to play him well and what you need to do to practice, I actually started playing him more in comp games and got better at him. I got better skillfully with Hanzo, and it ended up leading to me getting more wins, and I ranked up more. And I'm not just saying trying only one hero to get better at is going to help you, unless you're a one trick and you want to do that, but it's just trying to increase overall. And the other tip that I will go into next will actually kind of go into getting better at the game totally. But yeah, change your mindset from only trying to rank up to getting better at the game as well as having more fun. But yeah, let's get into the next tip. Tip number 2 is to gain/increase your game knowledge. And I know that's a mouthful and a lot of you are probably confused by what I mean as well. Well, when I was looking into some of the best Overwatch players, I noticed that a lot of them knew a lot of the stuff about the game mechanically. And I don't mean like how to play the game, but a lot of the stuff that is very important to know. And a lot of people in lower ranks really neglect this, which I feel like really impacts them ranking up. And I did the same thing as well. And the first thing when it comes to increasing/gaining game knowledge, there are two main things that I would say are the most important, and that is team compositions and counterpicking. And there's some other things as well. But team comps and counterpicking are probably the most important when it comes to this skill. But another one I'm going to go into first is to learn your maps. Now I know everyone is going to start screaming in the comments and saying, oh, I know this, I know you have to learn your maps, obviously. Well, even some people I know who are in Platinum or even Diamond don't know the map completely. They know the main objective and they know the main areas you can go to and some of the flank routes, but you may be neglecting a couple just because you haven't worked around it entirely. The best thing I can offer is to go into a custom game and scout the area completely. You'll learn new sightlines, flank routes, and stuff that could help you potentially win your next battle. And on top of that, learn where the health packs are on every single map. This actually helps out a lot. If you know where the health packs are, you know where you can go to win a 1v1 against that pesky tracer on the enemy team. Again, a lot of people do neglect this tip, so honestly, take a look at the maps you do know and the maps you don't and see what you can improve on. Well, let's get into the main part of gaining your game knowledge, and that is counterpicking. Now, a lot of people say counterpicking isn't important, but I beg to differ. Now, it's definitely not as important as like good team composition, but I'm not saying it's not important either. To any of you who do not know what counterpicking is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is the counter to whatever hero you are playing or whatever hero the enemy team is playing. For example, if you play Junkrat and the team runs a Pharah, Pharah is the counter to Junkrat, being that she flies high above the sky, and Junkrat has a lob projectile that really can't hit her. While yes, Junkrat can do a double conch mine and get up in the air, the chances that you're going to hit her are going to be pretty slim. So she is countering you. Now, most of you would think, well, what do I do in this situation if I'm being countered directly? There's one of two things. One of them is to switch to somebody who can counter the Pharah, like a hit scan, like Soldier, Hanzo if you're good, Widowmaker, Ashe, one of them, Cassidy. Or what most people do is to work around your counter. Now that's going to have to happen at some point. Sometimes you may not know how to play good heroes to counter, so you have to play your good character, your main. Say, for example, you don't know how to play any hit scan and you can only play Junkrat. Well, it'd be better for you to stay on your main than trying to play a hit scan you don't know anything about. A lot of people will switch to heroes they've never played before in comp games and end up losing them because they don't know anything about them. It's best to play a hero you're better skilled at and know how to play better than playing one you've never touched ever. Now, that's not to say you're still not going to get countered, but you'll know how to maneuver better with that character and end up getting killed less if you know what you're doing. Now, say for example, the enemy team has a character that's completely rolling your team. For example, D.Va. Say the enemy D.Va is completely steamrolling your team and you really don't know what to do about it. What should you do in that scenario? Well, if you're playing tank and say you're playing a Hog, and say your Hog isn't even that bad, you know how to play Hog pretty well, but the D.Va is just really eating all the damage from her defense matrix. Well, counter her by going Zarya. Zarya is a good counter to D.Va, being that her rockets and main projectiles are just charge for Zarya with her bubbles. On top of that, Zarya's beam goes through D.Va's defense matrix. This can really get her out of her mech fast and makes it to where she can't dive your team as much. And yeah, that's basically counterpicking. Counterpicking is honestly just countering whatever hero. Now, I'm not saying that you should always worry about this or always try to be a counter like I was just saying, but it is important to know sometimes if you need a certain hero. But next, let's get into team composition. To any of you, again, who do not know what team composition is, in basic terms, it's just the team that you're playing, is what I would say. So there's three types of comps that everyone mainly runs: dive composition, brawl, and poke. Now, to any of you who don't know what these are, I'll break them down simply. So poke composition is basically heroes that can shoot from a distance, usually whittling down the resources of the enemy team. Usually can win from afar, but they can push in if they need to, but usually can poke out from like afar, hence the name poke. Brawl compositions are mainly heroes that are going to be, well, for brawl, like fighting head on, usually trying to brute force or focus certain heroes in order to win the fight. Dive composition is what I would say is a combination of brawl. Basically, these heroes are going to have more mobility to get in and focus certain heroes or a team fight and then get out easily and get healed up by their healers rather than dying. Dive compositions are really good, especially on maps like, let me give an example, like push maps. Push maps are really good with dive compositions, and you don't usually want to run a dive comp when you're playing defense on a hybrid map or something. But how do I learn good composition, you're maybe asking you? Well, one of the things is to look out to what healers is your team playing. Healer is usually what you want to build your composition around. And a lot of you may say, oh, it's your tank or it's your DPS. I would say it's your healers. Healers definitely give you the most resources. While yes, tank does tank the damage and does do a lot of the damage for picks, support heroes are the ones that give you the most resources. You get, speed boost, immortality, nano, anti, all these from it. So how would I build my team composition around them? Well, mainly you need to learn which heroes go to which comp. Some of them that I can think off the top of my head is Baptiste is usually a poke/brawl, Lucio is more dive, Alari is more brawl/poke, and Mercy is more for, I would say, dive heroes as well. You can look up all of them online if you want, but again, team composition is super important. Now again, if your team is running a dive tank, like a dive composition, and you're playing a brawl, does that mean you have to switch? Well, I wouldn't say so. Like I said, if you know how to play a hero better that's not suited to the comp, then play that hero. Don't play a hero you don't know how to play. That is something I cannot emphasize enough. But yeah, counterpicking, team composition, and you are learning how to experience the maps better and learn them better. So what's next in gaining game knowledge? Well, that's mainly the main parts of it, but also just your situational awareness. Knowing when to throw your ultimates, knowing when to back out of a team fight, when to reset a hole. This is all important stuff. If you're always rushing in by yourself, you're most likely gonna die. Or if you don't know how to throw your ult well, this can definitely end up to you losing. A lot of people I know, specifically DPS, love to go into a team fight by themselves and try to get a 5-person nanoblade. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do this, but you ideally do not just want to kill yourself. Unless you know you're going to stay alive, I would try going for at least 1 or 2 picks. Try getting both supports, one of the DPS, the tank. All of this can be really helpful in turning the fight in your favor, not trying to kill all of them just because you're a main character. But yeah, once you know how to throw your ult well, this can really help with you. But on top of that, on top of knowing how to throw your ult and knowing how to reset, knowing how to play all the characters. Now you're probably saying, like, what do you mean, play all the characters? Well, I've looked at videos on should you be more flexible or be more one-tricky. And my thing is a combination of both. I think you should know how to play a good role of the heroes, but also know how to play ones you're not used to. For example, me. I usually play Junkrat, Venture. Those are my favorite heroes to play, but I know how to play Soldier, I know how to play Hanzo, Widow, a little bit of Widow and a little bit of Ashe. I know how to play Torb, Sim, Mei, and when it comes to tanks, I know how to play every tank except for Wrecking Ball. I don't like Wrecking Ball and I don't play him. Supports, I know how to play about everyone, but I'm not too good at Ana or Mercy. But I know how to play about every other hero pretty decently, and I'm not saying I'm fantastic at all of them, but knowing how to play them allows me to counter, like I was talking about earlier. But it also just makes it to where if I'm getting hard countered and I'm literally good at the hero I'm playing and they're better, then I know how to play someone else. Like I said before, even if you're really good at the hero you're playing, but you know how to play other heroes, you may want to switch if you're getting hard countered, because even if you're really good, but say they're good too, I mean, you may be doing no value to your team. But yeah, that wraps it up for gaining your game knowledge. And now we move into the last tip. Now before I move into this last tip, there's a kind of a half tip I want to give to you, this definitely can help. I'm not saying it's super important, but it does help, and I did mention it a little bit, and that is to go update your mechanics. Your sensitivity may be bad on certain heroes, and your crosshair may be bad on certain heroes. Updating this and looking at it in practice range can actually help you quite a bit. And again, sensitivity is important, especially if you're playing like a Widow or playing like Hanzo or something, you need to know how to flick. It's definitely important to update this, and if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I'm just saying it is something you should definitely do. And now, the last tip. The last one in the roster that is going to help you increase your comp. And that is to play the game. I don't know what you were expecting, but playing the game is how you're going to get better. You're going to learn more, you're going to increase your skill, you're going to gain more knowledge, like I said, and it's all from experience. Like I said, nothing happens overnight, but if you do play more, you're going to get better. But like I said, if any of you guys have questions on anything I said in today's video, be sure to just drop it down in the comments. But yeah, playing the game constantly is why you're going to get better at the game. If you neglect the game, you're probably going to lose your skill that you originally had. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you had any questions, like I said before, just drop them down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay awesome, God bless, and peace.